You're listening to the Neighborhood Bulldog, where the porch light's always on and the maroon runs deep. I'm Scott Neighbors, and this is your home for real Mississippi State sports talk. Around here, we don't chase headlines. We break down the wins, the losses, the culture, and what it really means to be a Bulldog. If it matters in Starkville, it matters here. So pull up a chair, grab a drink, and welcome to the neighborhood. Hail State. Welcome in to another episode of the Neighborhood Bulldog. Back with you here on a Wednesday night. No, it's been a little while. Some things have passed since last weekend, but hey, life is busy right now. So I record when I can. And I'm glad I waited because there's a few things to discuss tonight that might get some people riled up a little bit. So I'm not gonna hold back. I'm gonna speak on a few things that has caught my attention over the last several days, and we'll go from there. So, several topics to cover tonight, and we will dive into it. As always, I am the Neighborhood Bulldog, your host, Scott Neighbors. Jumping back to last Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I said last week, along with everybody else, that the Auburn series was a must win for Mississippi State. They needed to win that series to get a hosting spot locked up and potentially a national seed, top 8 national seed locked up. And what did the Bulldogs do? While they went to Texas and they did their job, they did not do their job this past weekend at home. Mississippi State gets a huge win on Thursday night, going 10-3 to Auburn on ESPN2, nationally televised game, and probably the best game the Bulldogs have played all season. Tomas Valenkas was masterful. I think he had 13 Ks in 6 or 7 innings. Just looked like the Thomas Valenkas of old. Early season Tomas, and he absolutely dominated as Mississippi State got that win 10-3. Going to speed through these, not going to spend too much time on last weekend. Friday rolls around. Friday night had a little bigger crowd. I thought with the big win on Thursday, the Dogs would come out and be fired up to play on Friday night, and they didn't really look the part. We kind of struggled there for a little while, and we end up making it a close game. Auburn goes up 2-0 in the third. They end up going up 4-0 in the fifth. We come back with 2 more runs in the bottom of the fifth. We score another run in the 7th inning to make it 4-3. And then in the 8th inning, we actually tie the game on an Ace Reese single to right field. Ben Davis comes in and shuts down Auburn in the 8th inning, or the 7th inning and the 8th inning. But then in the 9th inning, just grooves a fastball right down the center of the plate to Fralick, I believe it was. And he takes a 1-2 pitch over the fence to right center field. Right when we tied the game, we had played comeback the whole game. We tied the game in the bottom of the 8th, and then immediately in the top of the 9th, Ben Davis gives up the home run and took his second loss on the season. We end up losing 5-4 in that game. Both teams had 10 hits, and really disappointing loss there. Really disappointing. Ace Reese had a 4-for-5 game, just an absolute awesome weekend for him. Andreas Alvarez on the mound for Auburn just dominated. 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, 2 runs, 6 hits. And then Jackson Sanders came in, and we could not touch him. 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, 2 runs. Really struggled against him. Duke Stone started this game, went 4.2 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 7 Ks, 2 walks. Again, a little bit of a struggle there. And again, Ben Davis pitched great. He pitched great. 5 strikeouts, no walks, 1 run on 2 hits. It was just that fastball. He grooved that fastball right down the middle, and Fralick took him deep, and we ended up losing that ball game. And so very frustrating game on Friday night. Kind of heartbreaking, honestly. After the performance you had Thursday, the team just did not look engaged that well on Friday night. And then you go into Saturday, a 3 p.m. game on Saturday, and you're thinking, okay, this is a rubber game. We've got to have this game. Surely we're going to be fired up to play. And if you thought the Bulldogs struggled on Friday, they did not look like they had any interest in baseball on Saturday whatsoever. You are playing for a hosting spot. You're playing for a top 8 national seed, and you're playing to keep your standings in the SEC. And if anything else, you're playing for pride. It's your last home series of the year. And what does Mississippi State do? We go out and we get run ruled on our own field 13-2 in 7 innings. Ryan McPherson finally came back. Everybody's super excited to see him. We need Ryan McPherson back on the mound. We have to have him ready to go. He ends up taking the loss, giving up 1 run on 2 hits in 1 1/3 innings. He goes to back up the plate on a hit to the outfield and ends up slipping or twisting his ankle, tweaking his ankle, and ultimately leaves the game, which caused State to turn to Dane Burns and then ultimately use 6 pitchers total. And just really tough luck there for State early in that ball game. But an ugly, ugly, ugly game. Offense was terrible. Defense was terrible. 2 errors on the day. You got out hit 14-9. Auburn goes up 2-0 in the second, 3-0 in the third, and then you give up a 5 spot in the 5th inning and a 4 spot in the 6th inning. Just really, really poor game. And if you thought Mississippi State played their best game on Thursday night, which most people did, they probably played their worst game on Saturday. Probably the worst game of the season. It was total disinterest, total lack of energy, total lack of effort. It was awful in every phase of the game, and we got beat in every facet of the ball game. Um, Really frustrating, really honestly infuriating, knowing what you're playing for, and you come out with that performance, with everything on the line, and now you turn your eyes to a road trip to College Station, where you're gonna take on the number 10 Texas A&M Aggies, and, I mean, a tough series. Mississippi State has typically not had much success in this ball game at all, or in this series on the road. Overall, in the series, Mississippi State actually holds the series lead 24-23. But College Station has been a tough place to play for State over the years since A&M joined the SEC. Overall, though, Texas A&M and Mississippi State are pretty similar teams. As we get into some stat breakdowns here, you have Mississippi State, who again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 of their main players batting over 300 still as you enter the last weekend of SEC play. And then you have Aiden Till batting 296 and Ryder Woodson at 258. Blake Beavis getting a lot more playing time lately at 379. Vitas Valencius, 355. Um, I like to see some guys stepping up because as you go deep into the postseason, you have to have some bench players that can come into the game and get it done for you. It just has to happen. And so I like the last few weeks that we are getting them in the game, getting them experience. I really like that a lot. Um, Mississippi State as a team batting 310 as a team. Texas A&M as a team batting 304. Like I said, very similar lineups there, very similar stats. Home run wise, Mississippi State as a team up to this point has hit 86, and Texas A&M has hit 108. So it has it has a little disparity there. Now I don't believe Mississippi State has updated their stats on the website. I believe this is as of May the 5th. So we will see. I don't know if this includes last weekend. I doubt it does, obviously, but the numbers won't be far off. So pulling this straight off their websites, guys. So I apologize if it's wrong, but website says 86 home runs to A&M's 108. We knew A&M could hit the ball. They had some mashers on the team. Right now, they have 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 5 guys in double digits with home runs. Mississippi State has 3 in double digits. Jacob Parker, again, masterful freshman year, 10 home runs on the season. Ace Reese with 17. Reed Stallman with 10. Texas A&M has some smashers on their team. Gavin Grahovic, 17 home runs. Caden Sorrell leading the team, 22 home runs on the season. Incredible season by him, batting 340, 22 home runs, a 758 slugging percentage, just insane. Nico Partita, 12 home runs. Jorian Wilson, 12 home runs, and Bear Harrison, 11 home runs. So some deep balls there, deep balls from Texas A&M. Likewise, on the pitching mound, on the mound, Mississippi State as a team right now has a 3.85 ERA. Texas A&M is looking at a 4.85. So State's pitching staff performing a little better than Texas A&M's up to this point. Opponents batting 265 against Texas A&M. Opponents batting 229 against Mississippi State. So I really like that disparity there. And then another big one that stands out for me is the strikeout to walk ratio. Mississippi State has struck out 549 and walked 171, while Texas A&M has walked 417 and walked 132. So A&M might have the edge offensively just because of their ability to hit the deep ball right now. But Mississippi State, I believe, has the edge on the mound. And I think if we get a healthy Ryan McPherson this weekend, I feel really good about State's chances to go on the road and take that series, hopefully. Now, what do we think will happen? If we go to Warren Nolan here, and this is, I honestly could not believe it when I saw it, but Warren Nolan has Mississippi State winning game 1 6-3 on Thursday. He has Mississippi State winning game 2, so winning the series on Friday 7-6. And then Warren Nolan also has, let's see, where are they at? I just saw it last night. He actually has Mississippi State winning game 3 and taking the sweep on the road at College Station, winning game 3 8-5. So you have Warren Nolan predicting a sweep on the road for Mississippi State. And I'll tell you, if Mississippi State goes on the road to College Station and sweeps the Texas A&M Aggies at Bluebell Park, Mississippi State will be a top 8 national seed. I feel very confident that they are still going to host a regional. But right now, I believe you're playing, unless you get swept on the road, I feel like you're playing for that top 8 national seed. And I can tell you, if this prediction holds true, they will absolutely be a top 8 national seed when it's all said and done. Now, another thing to note here, hold on just a second here. Another thing to note is Warren Nolan's RPI. When you look across the league, when you look across the SEC right now, when you look at RPI, we know UCLA has been number 1 most of the season, but they are 46-5 on the year. Number 1 team in the country, number 1 RPI. But their strength of schedule is just 24. You've got, as far as SEC teams go, you've got Auburn at number 2 in the RPI with the number 1 strength of schedule in the country. And Auburn just lost to Jacksonville State, who actually took the series sweep over the Auburn Tigers with a win on Tuesday night. You get to Texas, they're number 4 in the RPI. Their strength of schedule is 6. Bama is number 6 with a number 4 strength of schedule. A&M 10th with a 25 strength of schedule. State is right behind them. Remember, we said they're very similar teams. State is at number 11 in the RPI, but they have a number 9 strength of schedule in the country. Then you get to Florida with Florida is number 12, but they're sitting there at number 12 in the RPI with the second toughest schedule. Ole Miss is 13th in the RPI with the third toughest schedule. Oklahoma is 20th in the RPI with the number 7 strength of schedule. I forget who it was. I don't think it was Lounge Dog. It may have been Duty Noble on X the other day. One of the big state guys that tweets all the time, some stat breakdowns. And he caught a lot of flack for pointing out the fact that Georgia has won the SEC regular season championship, but they have played one of the weakest schedules. You look at all of these schedules. Strength of schedule in the SEC: 1, 6, 4, 9, 2, 3, 7, and then you got A&M at 25th. Georgia comes in at number 15 in the RPI with just the 37th ranked strength of schedule. It makes you wonder with some of the SEC teams that Georgia got to avoid. It makes you wonder what some of these teams like Auburn, Texas, Bama, Ole Miss with these top 5 strength of schedules, what would they have looked like if they played the number 37 schedule in the country? Now, that's not to take anything away from Georgia. They went on the road and beat what at the time was a highly ranked Mississippi State team and swept them. And it was ugly. They absolutely dominated in every facet of that entire weekend. So not taking anything from them. But, I mean, you have some other teams here that when you talk about the SEC, you're known for playing the toughest games. And some other teams here, Georgia Tech, 22nd strength of schedule. North Carolina, 20th. You got USC with the 40th. So Georgia's right there with them. Southern Miss with the 14th strength of schedule. Nebraska, 43. Let's see. Oregon State, 61. West Virginia, 67. Oregon, 52. So Georgia's 37th ranked strength of schedule stands out to me, given the fact that they were so unbelievable in conference play. Absolutely phenomenal. You look at their record overall in Q1 games, they're 10-6 in Q1, 3-1 in Q2. They are 10-3 in Q3 and 18-1 in Q4. Well, in the top 25 of the RPI, Auburn did not lose a quadrant 3 or quad 4 game. They're undefeated in those 2 games. North Carolina did not lose a quad 4 game. Alabama did not lose a quad 4. Florida State did not lose a quad 4. Southern Miss, they lost a few. Texas A&M did not lose a quad 4 game. They did lose a quad 3 game. Ole Miss, undefeated in quad 3 and quad 4. Mississippi State, undefeated in quad 3 and quad 4. Georgia, 10-3 in quad 3, 18-1 in quad 4. Just a really odd year from an analytics and metrics standpoint for the Georgia Bulldogs there, because they did dominate the SEC. It was unreal. 21-6 record in the SEC, I believe one of the best records since Vanderbilt, I believe, went 23-2 or 23-3 back in 2013, 2014. So Georgia has one of the best seasons in SEC history, but a really low strength of schedule. So that's just one of the things that stands out to me when we get to talking about RPI and metrics and all of that. But Mississippi State ultimately goes into the weekend with Texas A&M. Texas A&M number 10, they're sitting at 16-10 in the SEC, and Mississippi State number 11 sitting at 15-12 in the SEC. Texas A&M 37-12 overall, Mississippi State 38-14 overall. So you also have A&M who's 12-11 in Q1 games. Mississippi State's just 9-11 in Q1 games, and I think that tells the tale of Mississippi State's season. A&M is also 2-0 in Quad 2. Mississippi State's 5-3. So I think that disparity between Quad 1 and Quad 2 there is what stands out to me between these two teams. But ultimately, I expect a great weekend. I expect a competitive series. I really hope Mississippi State does not come out and lay a dud. We had the pitching staff announced again today, and it's the same as last week. We've got Tomas Valinkas on the mound on Thursday. We've got Duke Stone on Friday, and then TBA on Saturday, and ultimately that's going to be Ryan McPherson if he is healthy. If he's not healthy, I really don't know what that will look like, but we will see from there. Some other topics to grace tonight. I want to start with one that really burned up the Twitter sphere or the X sphere, whatever you want to call it. I'm sorry. It's always going to be Twitter to me, guys. It is what it is. I don't call it X. I call it Twitter. That's what it's always been for me, what it always will be. Bub Terrell is a player for Auburn, outfielder. I believe he's an outfielder, who's from Meridian, Mississippi. After Auburn doesn't sweep, but after Auburn gets the series win over Mississippi State at Dudy Noble Field, a picture was taken of Bub Terrell walking off the field after visiting the left field lounge. He had probably 7 or 8 trays of food, probably barbecue, and Lord knows what else, that he was carrying on the bus with him. I will go ahead and tell you, the debate on X all weekend of people who were against feeding opposing players from the lounge after games versus the people that are for feeding opposing players from the lounge after games was a sight to behold. And I'm here to tell you, it's really not that hard to figure out, guys. It's really not. Let's get a few facts straight first. There are a lot of Mississippi State fans who have visited the lounge in the past, who have asked for food, who have asked to hang out, who have been given the stink eye. That's a fact. There's also a lot that have been welcomed with open arms. I would say there are a lot fewer left field lounge spots that are welcoming than there are that push people away. It is absolutely true that if you are an opposing fan or an opposing player, you are treated quite a bit better. Overall, there are the little pockets that take care of their own. You are treated quite a bit better from the left field lounge if you are not from Mississippi State. I've seen it. I've lived it. I've been out there and been a part of it, and I have seen it firsthand. And it has been like that my entire life in the left field lounge. And it is what it is. I see it from both directions. The people in the lounge spots have had those spots for probably generations or 50, 60 years, whatever you want to call it. And they pay an absolute buttload of money to have that spot. It is their property. They've paid the money. It's their freedom to allow who they want, when they want, and do what they want. That's a fact. Another fact, another fact of it is this, though. You are known for feeding the other players. That's the argument of everybody that was for this over the weekend. You're known for feeding the other players, and you're known for having opposing fans come out there and have a great time and live it up. That's what Duty Noble Field is known for. That's the atmosphere that gets it national attention. I would rather be known for having a gauntlet of a place to play. I would rather be known for having the number one home field advantage in the country. And I will be the first to tell you, I've been in the press box. I've been in the stands. I've been in the old bleachers. I've been in the outfield when it was the old rigs, and I've been in the left field lounge, and I've been in the lofts, and I've been on top of the lofts. I've been in the berms, and I've been in the student section. I have been in every single part of Duty Noble Field and have taken in games from every single inch of that stadium. And I will tell you, there is a disparity between the attendance numbers that come to the games and Duty Noble Field being a tough place to play. It just is. We have the dude effect that can take over late in ball games, and that's absolutely true. And at times it does take over and win us ball games. But when you're in the left field lounge, the amount of people that don't even look at the field, they've got their back turned, they're socializing, they're hanging out, and that's fine. Have a good old time drinking, partying, have a good old time. I go to games to watch the baseball game. Not everybody's like me. That's completely fine. But I go to games because I want to win. I want the crowd to be as loud as football games. I want the crowd to be the loudest in college baseball. I want it to be so loud the pitcher can't think, and it needs to be like that the entire game. That is what creates a tough place to play in college baseball. If you have 15,000 fans in your stadium, but 9,000 of them aren't even paying attention, what kind of home field advantage are you creating there? That's not a tough place to play. Okay? I want it to be deadly when a team comes in to play the game. And so I, for one, was pretty upset when I saw how much food we're giving to the opposing players. And again, it's their right to feed players. Bub Terrell's a Mississippian who happened to go to Auburn. And I saw a few arguments. Well, he came home. We need to treat him right. The other argument was we need to treat him right because he may get in the portal and decide to come home. That may be. But on that day, he was not a Mississippi State Bulldog. I don't see our players going out there and getting food after the game and getting fed after the games. I see the opposing players going out and getting fed after the games. If you're not already out there as a fan, I have yet to see a single fan that can leave the concourse area of the stadium, walk out to the left field lounge, and just walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, man, can I get a tray of ribs?" I have yet to see it. It doesn't happen. It does not happen. If you're going to treat your own this way, don't treat the outsiders better. It's that simple. It's that simple. The other thing, and the reason I said it's not that hard, guys, is because you're trying to create a tough environment to play. Do you think that Alabama goes and plays LSU or Tennessee goes and plays at Alex Box Stadium? Do you think they're getting drinks and food to take home on the road with them after the games? No, they're not. Do you think that opposing players are getting anything other than yelled at, cussed at, screamed at when they go play at Lindsey Nelson or Bluebell Park or in Athens, Georgia or at Plainsman's Park? They're not. Now, one half of the crowd says, well, that's what's special about Mississippi State. And I understand that. But let's make it a tough place to play. And let's live in that area. If you want to feed the players of opposing teams when it's a regional, have at it. They never get to play here. It's usually a big experience, especially for that fourth seed. I know we had a big time with VCU coming in several years ago in the regional, and their players were just absolutely starstruck when they walked out of the dugout for the first time. That is really cool to see. But guess what else happened when we fed those players after the ball games? We kicked their ass. It's that simple. It's that simple. And I saw a lot of people trying to hold it against other fans by saying, oh, well, it's only a problem if we lose the game. Newsflash, yeah, it is a problem if we lose the damn ball game. You're out here treating players for the opposing team like they didn't just wipe your crap all over your own field in front of your own fans. Like they didn't just rip out your chance of being a national seed, possibly hosting a regional, and seeding for the SEC tournament. You're acting like that didn't just happen. You watched 7 innings of an ass whipping that the Auburn Tigers put on you on your own field. And your first thought after the game is, boy, I can't wait to give them 10 trays of food to take home. You know what the flip side of that is? They get on the bus and they hop on Snapchat and Instagram and all that other bull crap, and they are laughing at you. Took the win and their food. That's what they posted. And apparently some of our fans are okay with that. I'm not. If we kicked their butt, if we ruled them, feed them all the food you want to feed them. If we win the ball game, feed them all the food you want to feed them. But if they walk into your house and rip you apart and embarrass you on your field, why are we feeding them? And I saw more people trying to say, it's more than a game. It's more than just a baseball game. It's about more than the game. Tell that to the $3 million salary we're paying Brian O'Connor to win baseball games. Tell that to however many millions of dollars our stadium costs to build. Tell that to the other 11,000 fans that are at any given ball game that paid money to get there. Those people are not coming to socialize. They're coming to watch a ball game, and they're coming to watch Mississippi State win a ball game. This ain't no tea party. It's college athletics where millions of dollars are on the line every day, whether it's betting, salaries, NIL, whatever. It is as simple as, if we win, do what you want. Feed them, treat them as good as you want. If we lose, don't. It's that simple. It is that simple, guys. It's not a hard concept to grasp. It's just not. Common sense is allowed to prevail at some point in these debates and these arguments that we get into. And I honestly could not believe that there are other people that wear Mississippi State gear, every Maroon Friday at work, that wear it every time they go to town, who would sit there and be completely okay with us treating opposing fans and players better than we treat our own people. That's garbage. And that's damn embarrassing. Be better. Be better. That's all I can say. You either want a tough, competitive environment that's hard to play in. There is no scenario in college athletics where a player for any other team should be excited to come to your field and play. They should be dreading having to walk into Starkville and play in front of 15,000 rabid, screaming, in your face fans. If we provide that kind of environment and we lose, do what you want after the game. But don't sit there and have a leisurely party in left field and feed them after they absolutely wipe you and dust you and rip your postseason chances away right in front of you on your own field. Let's stop that crap. Let's stop it, okay? Apply common sense. If we win, feed them. If we don't, don't. It's that simple. Now, another topic I want to get into tonight. Probably won't be as long as that one. Boy, did Lane Kiffin step in it, son. Ole Miss fans, and I don't know if there's any that listen to this show, but Ole Miss fans, buddy, I feel you, dog. We tried to tell you, us on the Mississippi State side tried to tell you the whole time what would happen. How many Ole Miss fans got on X and the message boards and friends at work and said, Lane will never leave the team in the playoffs. They're in the middle of a playoff run. He would never do that. He did it. He did it. And what'd you say? Oh, I can't believe he's a garbage human. And all the Mississippi State fans are sitting there going, yeah, we know. We tried to tell you. You were so blinded by the success he had at Ole Miss that you couldn't see him for who he is. He is one of the most narcissistic assholes on planet Earth. Okay? On planet Earth. He is a horrible human being. Horrible. You can see some of the stories that have come out against him. And unfortunately, most of them are true. So the Vanity Fair article comes out this week, and Lane Kiffin essentially says, I couldn't recruit at Ole Miss because they couldn't get over their racist history. They still had the Confederate flag. They still had Colonel Reb, which is the lie. They still had this and that. And I had so many black players and parents tell me, you know, my son really likes you, but he doesn't want to come play for Ole Miss. I forget who said it on a show. I think it was on Three Man Front. Lane Kiffin accomplished what he wanted to accomplish. When he accepted the Ole Miss job, we told Ole Miss fans from day one, he's going to break your heart. He is only using Ole Miss to get the bigger job. Yes, you may have success, but it's not going to last because he's going to bounce and take the bigger job. And it's going to break your heart. Now, admittedly, he stayed at Ole Miss a lot longer than I expected him to. But in the end, he did exactly what I knew he would do. He leaves you, takes the big contract at LSU, but that's not good enough for Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin has to win Lane Kiffin's way, whether it's ethical, unethical, whatever, on the field, off the field, and boy, does he do a lot off the field. If somebody checked Lane Kiffin's Snapchat, police would be involved. Let's just say that. How hard, the question I think people are missing in this, and I think it came from Three Man Front today, and it stood out to me. How hard do you think it's going to be for Pete Golding to recruit now at Ole Miss? Pete Golding's a first-time head coach. Now you have Lane Kiffin, who has success at Ole Miss, throwing that out there in the national space, the national sphere. Do you think that's going to make it easier or harder for Pete Golding to recruit any players with elite talent to Ole Miss? Yeah, it is. It's going to be very difficult. And Lane Kiffin knew that. And that's why he did what he did. Lane Kiffin cares about Lane Kiffin. That's just the cold hard truth, how it's always been his entire life. There are families that have been Ole Miss royalty, including the Mannings, who cannot stand the man. And I wish a lot of this would have come out about him while he was at Ole Miss rather than after, because it's kind of one of those things where if you knew he was doing this while he was there, you should have called him out then. Let's not play the bitter ex-girlfriend and call it all out now. But you're talking about a man who we know it's a well-known secret, so to speak, but it's not really a secret. What happened with a family member of his who had some fraternization with a certain running back for Ole Miss. It's a known fact that when he found out he benched this player, he almost cost Ole Miss games because he was butthurt that the football player liked his daughter. That's the kind of man you're dealing with here, the kind of coach you're dealing with here. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic because what happened is national news media got a hold of the story and they ran with it. And they ran with it and they ran with it. And the same old tired stereotypes and tropes that are not true about the state of Mississippi just get churned up and respun up over and over and over and over and over again because of his comments the other day. And then he comes out after the next day and provides a statement to On 3 where he says, I apologize if my statements made anyone mad. I mean, it was just the truth, so I didn't see it as making any controversial statements. Bro, shut up. Just shut your mouth. I hate Ole Miss with almost every fiber of my being. But on the day that they play LSU, I may throw on red and blue that day. I will absolutely be pulling for Ole Miss, but I may pull for them so hard I may even put the logo on. Because it's one thing to go against Oxford and Ole Miss and say the things that he said and trying to joke or be competitive, whatever. It's another thing when, number one, even as a state fan, I know the things he said are not true. They're just not true. Oxford is a incredibly nice city, very nice place to be, good atmosphere, welcoming atmosphere. And number two, it's another thing to go after my home state. It's another thing to go after the state of Mississippi. And back in the day, a lot of people grew up with the idea of, oh, let the outsiders think that Mississippi is a terrible place. We don't want them here. Yeah, oh, Mississippi's terrible. Stay over there in California. Stay up there in New York. Don't come here. But it gets annoying and it gets frustrating when you hear the same old bull crap that you live here and you know it is just objectively not true whatsoever. It's just not. And then he wanted to talk about safety. Ole Miss had 0 murders, Baton Rouge, 94. Who's safer? So Lane Kiffin getting people riled up again, absolute garbage. Just idiocy. Absolute idiocy. Ridiculous comments. He knows they're blatant lies. Anyone with half a brain knows they're blatant lies. And then you have a guy who I respect and who I followed from day one on X, GFed, coming out, showing his true colors and his ignorance, calling Mississippi the most homophobic state and how Mississippi can't get past. I mean, effectively what Lane Kiffin said. Bro, you have walked 3 stadiums in this state and bounced. Come spend a month here. Come spend a week here and tell me you feel the same that you feel. Otherwise, shut up. That's where I'm at. If you don't live here, if you don't stay here for an extended time, shut up. You have no room to talk or say anything about Mississippi or what does or does not happen in Mississippi. Just because you happen to see one news article of one town with 3 idiots that dress up in Halloween costumes or whatever you want to call them, everywhere in the country has their share of idiots. Mississippi's no different. But Mississippi as a whole, no, no. There's racism all throughout this country. It's still there. It is. There are places in Mississippi where it is. There's also places in Atlanta, Nashville, Memphis, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, Las Vegas, Sacramento, LA, Compton, Texas, Dallas, Houston. Mississippi's not unique to that. But just because of some history that none of you lived through, myself included, Mississippi gets drugged back into the 50s and the 60s. We're in 2026. That stuff doesn't happen anymore. It doesn't. So I get really burned up when I see idiots that are not Mississippi folks running their mouths and making crap up just for the sake of a click. And there is no bigger whiny, narcissistic baby than Lane Kiffin, who will do anything for a social media click. Anything. It's a wonder he doesn't come out and defend his daughter. Where you at, Lane? Defend your daughter. Oh, you can't. You can't because everyone knows what she was up to around the football team. Instead of handling your family, you bench an all-star player and almost cost Ole Miss one of the best seasons they've ever had. Just as a man, figure it out, Lane Kiffin. I'm sick of you. Absolutely sick of it. It's garbage. He's a man-child, and I cannot wait to see him fail at LSU because all these tropes and clicks and bull crap he does in the media, go 8-4. Go 9-3. See how long that fan base puts up with it. Because he will be gone and he'll be back to FAU before you know it. And that's just a fact. The last topic I want to get into, and just real quick here, I know this is a long episode, y'all. Last topic I want to get into is this. The Egg Bowl. Comes out this week. The Egg Bowl is on a Friday, Black Friday at 11 a.m. on ABC. Quite possibly the absolute worst time slot on the worst day that you could have one of the best football games of every year. There are people in this country who know nothing about Mississippi State or Ole Miss who have watched the Egg Bowl every single year, especially when it's on Thanksgiving night. Why? Number one, because it's been the only football game on. Number two, because it just provides electric entertainment. And there are people that look forward to the game every year that have nothing to do with either school. To put it on Black Friday, I am vehemently against playing on Black Friday. I hated it last year. I'm going to hate it this year. Why? Because, yes, there may be people that have off on Black Friday. And last year, again, it's amazing to me how many Mississippi State fans want to argue and fight against other Mississippi State fans just for stating an opinion. People caught hell last year for complaining that the game was on Friday because they had to work. Why did they catch hell? Because the number one argument was, well, just take off. Take the day off. A lot of people have that day off. There's a lot of people who can't take the day off. Myself included sometimes. Sometimes I get it off. Sometimes I don't. It is what it is. But I would like for my college football team to have a primetime slot on whatever day they are playing. I hate 11 a.m. games. I hate 2:30 games. I wish every football game we played could be a night game. Now, Mississippi State hasn't earned that because we're not very good. We haven't been very good and we're not very good. However, if you're going to do it on a Friday when people are already working, can you at least make it after work hours? I mean, my God, can I get off work and try to catch the game? Because a lot of people's jobs, they don't have a way to sit there and watch the game at work because guess what? They're working. And I, for one, would like to not miss the Egg Bowl. And there are a lot of people like me who have to go to work. And not only is attendance determined by how good we are on the year, but if you don't think attendance is at least hampered by the fact that it's in the middle of a work day, then I don't know what to tell you. You're being ignorant. There are a lot of people that get the day off. Great, cool. There's a lot of people that don't. And you're screwing over those fans that can't get out of work, that can't watch the game. You're screwing them over. And at this point, just put it back on Thanksgiving night. There was a lot of people that complained that it was on Thanksgiving night because you're essentially having to choose between family and going to the game. If the game is in Starkville, I typically go to the Egg Bowl. And on Thanksgiving, we would spend the morning with one family, the night with the other. And when it's in Starkville, most of the time, we have our Thanksgiving in the mornings around lunch. And then the people that are going to the game all carpool and tailgate together and head up to the ball game for that night after Thanksgiving dinner. Just put it back to that. Stop with the Friday crap. It's evident we want the slot. We want to be the only game on TV. Just put it back on Thanksgiving night, man. If it's going to be on Friday, middle of the day sucks. Friday night, you've got a few other games to compete with, but you're probably the best game on at that point. Thursday night is the only night that you are guaranteed it's a night game. It's a holiday where people are not working. And you are the only game on television. It checks all the boxes on Thanksgiving night. And it's largely a tradition. So I would like to see it go back to Thanksgiving night. If we're not going to do that, I would rather just be another game on a Saturday than to be on a Friday on Black Friday. I hate it. I wish it would go away. I wish they would fix it. I absolutely hate it. But a lot of that will be determined by how good of a season we have. So we will see what happens at that point. So I know this episode was long, had a lot to get into, a lot to catch up on. Mississippi State playing for its postseason dreams this weekend, starting tomorrow night. As you're listening, it's Wednesday night, tomorrow night, or tonight as you're listening, Thursday night. Mississippi State's playing for its postseason spot. So we'll see if Starkville gets another home game in a regional. I think they will, but we'll see what happens. And I would love for Mississippi State to get a top 8 seed because if you can host all the way through, you have the best chance to make it to Omaha. Is this team good enough to make it to Omaha? Honestly, it depends on what team you're getting. We're a little inconsistent right now. But if we get a healthy Ryan McPherson back, we kind of play early season Bulldog baseball. This team's absolutely good enough to get to Omaha. I do not think we are good enough to win in Omaha, win at all, I should say. But I do think we're good enough to get there. So we'll see what happens this weekend. I am your neighborhood Bulldog. Have a great night. Hail State.